Some children, still so young, ended up entering history through extremely sad circumstances marked by tragedies, injustices, or conditions that defy human comprehension. These are the children you will meet today. Momo Gavage was the youngest soldier to serve in the First World War, enlisting in the Royal Serbian Army at 8 years old. Born on the 1st of May in 1906 in Loznica, Serbia, he was the 8th of 11 children. In August 1914, Austro-Hungarian troops attacked his village, brutally killing his parents, grandmother, 3 sisters, and 4 brothers, and setting his home on fire. Momo survived because he was at his uncle's house. Upon returning and witnessing the devastation, he sought out the 6th Artillery Division of the Serbian Army, which was operating nearby. Major Stephen Tukovic, moved by his story, welcomed him into the unit and assigned a soldier to care for him. That same night, Momo guided the soldiers to the enemy position, contributing to a successful counterattack. After some time, Momo was promoted to corporal and received a military uniform. Following more battles and still only 10 years old, he was promoted to sergeant by a field marshal who was astonished to see him in uniform in the trenches. After the war, Momo was sent to the United Kingdom, where he completed his education and returned to Serbia in 1921, reuniting with 3 surviving brothers. He died in Belgrade on the 28th of April 1993, apparently from natural causes at 87 years of age. Momo Gavage is remembered as a symbol of childhood resilience in times of war. There are monuments in his honor on the island of Corfu and at the Jadar Museum in Loznica. In 2014, a street in Loznica was named after him, and in 2015, the Serbian government announced the construction of a monument in Belgrade dedicated to him. Arty Razal, from the island of Sumatra in Indonesia, gained worldwide notoriety in 2007 at 2 years old when he was filmed smoking about 40 cigarettes a day. His early addiction began when his father gave him his first cigarette at 18 months of age. The shocking images went viral, sparking international outcry and pressuring the Indonesian government to intervene. In 2012, Arty was placed in a rehabilitation program in Jakarta, where he underwent intensive therapy to quit smoking. At 5 years old, he succeeded in stopping. However, he developed a compulsion for food, reaching 24 kilograms at 5 years of age and 30 kilograms at 6 years, which required nutritional and psychological support to manage childhood obesity. With continuous support from his family and health professionals, Arty adopted a balanced diet and a healthy routine. At 9 years old, he stated that he was happy, enthusiastic, and focused on his studies, staying away from nicotine and maintaining healthy eating habits. Shahik Avala, also known as the real-life Sleeping Beauty, is a young Colombian who suffers from Kleine-Levin syndrome, also referred to by the initials KLS, a rare neurological disorder characterized by recurring episodes of hypersomnia or excessive sleep and behavioral changes. During these episodes, which can last days, weeks, or even months, Shahik remains in a deep sleep from which it is extremely difficult to awaken her. In one of her longest episodes, she slept for 70 consecutive days. KLS is an extremely rare condition, with only about 339 cases recorded worldwide, and only 3 known in Colombia. During the episodes, besides prolonged sleep, patients may experience confusion, disorientation, lethargy, and in some cases, temporary memory loss. In Shahik's case, she failed to recognize her own mother after a 48-day sleep episode. The exact cause of KLS is still unknown, and there is no definitive cure. Treatment generally involves symptom management and continuous family support. Shahik's mother, Marlene Tovar, plays a crucial role in her care, feeding her liquid meals via syringe during episodes to prevent weight loss and ensure her nutrition. The case of Joseph Hall, which occurred on the 1st of May 2011 in California, is one of the most complex and controversial, involving domestic violence, ideological extremism, and juvenile criminal responsibility. Joseph Hall was only 10 years old when he took the life of his father, Jeffrey Hall, while he slept on the family's sofa in Riverside, California. Jeff was a plumber and regional leader of the National Socialist Movement, a neo-Nazi group in the United States. He promoted hate speech and even ran for public office in 2010, defending white supremacy ideas. In 2013, at 12 years old, Joseph was found guilty of second-degree murder and sentenced to remain in a juvenile detention center until he turned 23 years old. During the trial, the defense argued that he had developmental disorders, such as ADHD, and had been exposed to an abusive and violent family environment. The case sparked intense debate about the minimum age of criminal responsibility and children's ability to understand the consequences of their actions. In 2016, the United States Supreme Court declined to review Joseph's conviction, upholding the determination that he had comprehended the gravity of his actions. Xhei. Keith Means is recognized by the Guinness World Records as the most premature baby to survive. Born on the 5th of July 2020 at the University of Alabama at Birmingham Hospital in the United States, he entered the world at only 21 weeks and 1 day of gestation, approximately 132 days early, and weighed 420 grams, equivalent to a soccer ball. His mother, Michelle Butler, had been expecting twins, but tragically Curtis's sister passed away 1 day after birth due to underdeveloped organs. Curtis's chance of survival was less than 1%, but he defied all odds. After 275 days, nearly 9 months in the neonatal intensive care unit, Curtis was discharged in April 2021. In July 2024, Curtis celebrated his 4th birthday in good health and spirits, weighing approximately 14.9 kilograms. His story not only represents a milestone in neonatal medicine, but also offers hope to families and healthcare professionals facing extreme prematurity. Husna Kukquay is a Paralympic swimmer from Uganda who gained international attention as her country's sole swimming representative at the Paris 2024 Paralympic Games. Born on the 25th of March 2007 in Kampala, Uganda, she was born with a congenital malformation that resulted in the absence of her right forearm and a malformation of her left hand. She began swimming at 3 years old and has since dedicated herself to the sport, becoming an inspiration to many. Husna began competing in 2017 and, in 2018, won a gold medal in the 100-meter breaststroke at a competition in South Korea. In 2019, she participated in the World Para-Swimming Championships in Marseille in London, being the youngest athlete at the event. At 14 years old, she competed in the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games, becoming the youngest athlete at that competition. At the Paris 2024 Paralympic Games, Husna competed in various events. On the 6th of September, she set a new African record in the 50-meter freestyle with a time of 32.12 seconds, finishing 5th in her heat. Husna is Uganda's only classified Paralympic swimmer and has been an active advocate for inclusion and the rights of people with disabilities. She serves as an ambassador for the International Paralympic Committee, raising awareness of the challenges faced by people with disabilities in Uganda. Martin Pistorius is a South African whose life story is marked by resilience and triumph, drawing global attention because of the peculiar nature of his case. At 12 years old, in January 1988, he began showing symptoms of a mysterious illness, initially diagnosed as cryptococcal meningitis. He quickly lost the ability to speak, move, and make eye contact, entering a vegetative state that lasted about 2 years. Around 14 years old, Martin began gradually regaining consciousness, although he remained completely paralyzed and unable to communicate. During this period, he was fully aware of everything around him, but could not express himself, living a condition known as locked-in syndrome. This lasted for approximately a decade, until at 25 years old, a caretaker noticed he was responding to stimuli and referred him for specialized evaluation. Tests confirmed that Martin was conscious and aware of his environment. With the aid of assistive technologies, such as a speech synthesizer, Martin began to communicate and regain some autonomy. He shared his experience in the book Ghost Boy, published in 2011, where he recounts the challenges he faced during the years he was trapped in his own body. Currently, Martin is married, has a child, and works as a web developer and public speaker, inspiring people worldwide with his life story. Juliano Stro is a Romanian boy who gained international notoriety in childhood due to his impressive physique and athletic abilities. Born on the 18th of July 2004, he began training with his father, Juliano Stro, at 2 years old while the family lived in Florence, Italy. At 5 years old, Juliano entered the Guinness Book by walking 10 meters on his hands with a weighted ball between his legs, a feat performed live on an Italian television program. Juliano's training routine, which included weightlifting, push-ups, and pull-ups, was documented documented and shared by his father on social media, attracting millions of views. However, this exposure also sparked criticism and concerns about the potential physical and psychological impacts of intense exercise on children. Experts warned that strength training in childhood could impair physical growth and lead to psychological issues, such as body image dependence. In response to the criticism, Juliano Stro stated that the training was safe and that Juliano had natural athletic abilities. He emphasized that his son was never forced to train and that activities were stopped if he felt tired or bored. Currently, Juliano continues to impress with his physical condition, maintaining an active presence on social media. His journey has fueled debates about the limits of youth training and the importance of balancing physical development with emotional well-being. George Junius Stiny Jr. was an African-American teenager who became a symbol of one of the greatest judicial injustices in United States history. Born on the 21st of October, 1929 in Alcolu, South Carolina, he was accused, tried, and executed in 1944 at 14 years old for the murder of two girls, Betty June Binnicker and Mary Emma Thames. The trial against George Stiny was extremely flawed and rife with racial prejudice. Less than 3 months after his arrest, he was tried and convicted. The jury, composed exclusively of white men, took only 10 minutes to deliver the guilty verdict. During questioning, Stiny did not have an attorney or his parents present, and his alleged confession was never documented in writing. Moreover, no physical evidence linked him to the crime. On the 16th of June 1944, George Stiny was executed in the electric chair, becoming the youngest person executed in the United States in the 20th century. Because of his small stature, he had to sit on a Bible to reach the electrodes, making the event even more shocking. 70 years after his execution, on the 16th of December 2014, Judge Carmen Mullen vacated Stiny's conviction, acknowledging that he had not received a fair trial. The decision highlighted the absence of proper defense and the violation of the adolescent's constitutional rights. The story of George Stiny inspired works such as the film Carolina Skeletons in 1991, which portrays the case in fictional form. Additionally, documentaries and news reports continue to explore the judicial system failures highlighted by this case. Abigail Peters is a British baby who became a symbol of hope and perseverance by surviving an extremely risky abdominal surgery, becoming the youngest person in the world to undergo this type of procedure successfully. Abigail was born in October 2016 at only 23 weeks of gestation, weighing approximately 590 grams. Shortly after birth, she was diagnosed with necrotizing enterocolitis, a severe condition causing inflammation and tissue necrosis in the intestine, common in premature infants. The situation was critical, and doctors informed the family that the only chance of survival was an extensive abdominal surgery, a procedure rarely performed on newborns so small due to its low success rate. At 6 days old, the medical team led by pediatric surgeon Zahid Mukhtar decided to proceed with the operation. The procedure lasted about 3 hours and was considered a success. Mukhtar reported that after extensive review of medical literature, he found no record of a baby so young surviving a similar surgery. After the surgery, Abigail remained in the neonatal intensive care unit under strict care. Over time, she showed an impressive recovery and was eventually discharged. Doctors believe she will have no significant sequelae from the procedure. For her parents, Louise and David Peters, Abigail's survival is a true miracle. They expressed profound gratitude to the medical team and highlighted their daughter's strength and determination from her earliest moments of life. Kaia Ro, a 6-year-old African-American girl, was arrested on the 19th of September 2019 at a school in Orlando, Florida, over a tantrum. Yes, you heard that correctly, a simple tantrum. During the incident, she allegedly kicked and punched staff members. Officer Dennis Turner, present at the school, handcuffed Kaia with zip ties, placed her in the back of a police vehicle, and took her to a juvenile detention center, where she was booked and had her fingerprints taken. The case sparked widespread outrage and criticism, especially after the release of the officer's body cam footage, which showed Kaia crying and begging not to be taken away. It was later revealed that Kaia suffered from sleep apnea, a medical condition that can affect a child's behavior due to sleep deprivation. The school was aware of this condition, and Kaia was scheduled for surgery. Officer Dennis Turner was fired after the incident because he failed to get supervisor approval to arrest a child under 12, as required by the Orlando Police Department policy. Charges against Kaia were dropped.
Give me a second. I don't want to use it. No. Please. Please. Please.
Kaia's case led to the passage of the Kaia Ro Act in Florida in 2021, which prohibits the arrest of children under 7 years old, except in cases of violent felonies. However, Kaia's family continues to fight for broader changes, including raising the minimum arrest age to 12 years. The growing trend of influencers approaching young people on the street to ask about the number of partners and relationships they have had has sparked debates about the impact of this content on social media. The responses, often with high numbers, are frequently displayed as trophies, suggesting a possible competition among young people influenced by these platforms. Social media has played a significant role in shaping young people's romantic behaviors. Studies indicate that frequent use of these platforms is associated with risky behaviors in relationships. In various online content types, when young people are asked how many partners or relationships they have had in their lives, the high numbers are alarming, especially coming from very young boys and girls who seem proud of the situation.
Body count.
I'm gonna say 0.
Studies also show that the pursuit of social validation on social media, often measured by numbers, can lead to decreased self-esteem and a distorted body image. Lena Medina is recognized as the youngest mother ever recorded in medical history. Born on the 23rd of September 1933 in the village of Ticrapo in the Huancavelica region of Peru, she gave birth at 5 years, 7 months, and 21 days of age on the 14th of May 1939. At 5 years old, Lena exhibited abnormal abdominal growth. Her parents initially suspected a tumor and took her to the hospital in Pisco. There, doctors diagnosed a 7-month pregnancy. She suffered from extreme precocious puberty, a rare condition in which sexual maturity occurs very early. Medical reports indicate Lena began menstruating at 8 months old and developed breasts at 4 years old. Because of her small pelvis, delivery was by cesarean section. The baby, a healthy boy weighing 2.7 kilograms, was named Gerardo after Dr. Gerardo Lozada, who led the medical team. The identity of Gerardo's father was never confirmed. Lena's father was arrested on suspicion but released for lack of evidence. Other suspicions fell on Lena's brother with mental disability, but no charges were filed. Lena never revealed who her child's father was and avoided speaking publicly about the matter. Lena married Raul Jurado in 1972 and had another child at 38 years old. She lived in humble conditions in Lima and, despite international attention, never received significant government support. Gerardo was raised believing Lena was his sister. At 10 years old, he discovered the truth. He lived until 40 years old, passing away in 1979 from a bone marrow disease. Jambulat Kakov, known as Jambik, was a Russian boy who gained international notoriety for his unusual weight in childhood. At 6 years old, he measured 1.4 meters tall and weighed approximately 95 kilograms, making him one of the heaviest boys in the world at that time. In 2003, he was recognized by the Guinness World Records as the heaviest child in the world. Born on the 24th of September 1999, Jambik drew media attention and appeared on several television programs, including the British documentary World's Biggest Boy. Despite medical concerns about his health, his mother, Nelia Kabardakova, insisted he was healthy and encouraged his desire to become a sumo wrestler. During adolescence, Jambik decided to lose weight and, with his trainer's help, managed to reduce 54 kilograms, dropping from 230 kilograms to 176 kilograms by 18 years old. He followed a strict diet, sending photos of his meals to his trainer for monitoring, and seemed determined to change his lifestyle. Unfortunately, Jambulat Kakov passed away on the 29th of December 2020 at 21 years old. Although the official cause of death was not disclosed, reports indicate he had kidney problems. The channel Ryan Toys Review, now known as Ryan's World, faced criticism and investigations due to how it presented sponsored content to very young children. In 2019, the nonprofit organization Truth in Advertising, known as TINA, filed a complaint with the United States Federal Trade Commission, alleging that the channel deceptively promoted products to millions of preschool children without making clear that it was paid advertising. TINA reviewed videos released between January and July 2019 and found that about 90% of them featured references to products aimed at children under 5 years old. Many of these videos were sponsored by companies like Walmart and Nickelodeon, but disclosure that the content was paid advertising was deemed inadequate or non-existent. For example, in some cases, sponsorship information was shown only in writing at the beginning of the video and narrated in a voice different from Ryan's for less than 2 seconds, making it difficult for children to perceive. As a result, the channel had to undergo a redesign, and whenever it showcased a sponsored product, it had to clearly state that it was paid advertising. A 10-year-old girl named Lyric survived a tragic attack at her home in Houston, Texas, on the 30th of June 2021. During the attack, her parents and her 6-year-old sister were killed by Xavier Davis. Lyric was shot in the arm but managed to survive by pretending to be dead until the attacker left. Afterwards, she protected her 1-year-old brother, who was unharmed, and called her grandmother for help. Investigations revealed the attack was ordered by Alexis Chanel Williams, her mother's ex-girlfriend. Williams hired Davis to commit the murders, offering him any money he found in the house. She even watched the murders via video call. In 2025, Xavier Davis was sentenced to death after confessing to the crimes. Lyric was widely recognized for her courage and presence of mind during the incident. Her grandmother described her as a heroine for her bravery in such a traumatic situation. The documentary Prison Orphan, available on the Real Stories YouTube channel, tells the moving story of Justin, a 14-year-old with special needs who was unjustly held in a maximum security prison in the United States. Justin had an IQ of 40, indicating significant intellectual disability. At 14 years old, he was incarcerated in a secure juvenile facility intended for violent youth offenders. Despite not committing a violent crime, Justin remained imprisoned for a prolonged period, mainly because he had no legal guardian or family to care for him after his sentence. His mother abandoned him, and his grandparents, who should have been his caregivers, were accused of abuse and subsequently attempted suicide. This left him without a support system, resulting in his continued confinement even after serving his time. Justin's case highlighted critical issues in the juvenile justice system, particularly regarding the treatment of youth with mental disabilities and the lack of adequate resources for those without a family support network. Don't forget to subscribe so you can watch more videos like this.